Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode with Beyond the Mind with Ani. I'm your host, Ani, and today we are diving into a question that haunts so many of us. Why do we keep attracting the wrong people? I am talking about the lover who disappears the moment you open your heart, the friend who smiles to your face but betrays you behind your back, the coworkers who drain your energy and take without giving. You've probably sat in silence after one of these moments and thought, why me? Why does this keep happening to me? And here is the truth. Are you ready? This is not bad luck. This is not about a curse. And no, the universe doesn't hate you. What you're experiencing is basically a mirror. These people, these dynamics are reflections of unhealed wounds, shadow patterns, and unmet needs within us. They show us where we've been abandoned, where our boundaries are weak, and where our deepest lessons lie. I'm not here to sugarcoat this. This episode is going to be raw, it's going to be honest, and yes, it might feel uncomfortable to some at times, but discomfort is where transformation begins. If you're tired of repeating the same painful cycles, stay with me because breaking them starts right here and right now. Most of the time, we don't actually attract bad people. We attract mirrors of ourselves. The people who enter our lives are not random. They are reflections of our unhealed patterns, our unconscious wounds, and the stories we've been carrying since childhood. Every painful dynamic is a signal, an echo of something unresolved within us. Take this example. You keep attracting emotionally unavailable partner. On the surface, it feels like it's their fault. They're cold, they're detached, inconsistent, unable to meet you where you are. But the deeper truth is this: something inside you is drawn to that dynamic. It is not love you're chasing, it's that feeling of familiarity. If as a child love felt distant, conditional, or unpredictable, your nervous system unconsciously wires itself to equate love with longing. So when you meet someone who gives you breadcrumbs instead of wholeness, it feels strangely like home. The pain feels known, and the known feels safe, even if it slowly breaks you. Psychology obviously talks about this. Attachment theories, developed by John Bowlby and expanded by Mary Ainsworth, shows us that unmet childhood needs directly shape how we bond in adult life. If we were neglected, you may become anxiously attached, clinging to people who push you away. If you were criticized or controlled, you may feel safer with partners who keep distance. The very wounds that hurt us the most are often the ones we unconsciously keep reenacting, hoping this time they will finally be healed. And spiritually, Carl Jung reminds us everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The partner who ignores you, the friend who betrays you, the coworker who drains you, they're not just villains in your story, they are teachers. Each irritation, betrayal, or disappointment is an invitation to pause and ask, what inside me is this touching? Where have I felt this before? And what shadow is being revealed here in me? The harsh truth is this: until we recognize the mirror, we're doomed to repeat these patterns. Different faces, different names, same wounds. Healing starts when we stop blaming them and turn inwards to face that reflection. Every single person who triggers you is not your enemy. They are your shadow teacher. Triggers are never random. They are your unconscious knocking on the door saying, hey, pay attention. This is where the wound lives. Most of us waste our energy trying to silence the knock by blaming, avoiding, or numbing. But the trigger is a gift. It's showing you exactly where the work is. Take this example. You feel a sting of jealousy every time a friend succeeds. On the surface, you shame yourself. You say, I should be happy for them, but jealousy is never about them. It's about you. That envy is your own acknowledged desire, the dream you have buried, the self-judgment whispering that it will never be enough. Their win doesn't take anything from you. It simply exposes the parts of yourself you have disowned. What you resent in them is often what you secretly crave for yourself. Psychology. Carl Jung's shadows theory explained this with precision. The parts of ourselves we repress or deny don't just disappear. They leak out as projections onto partners, friends, and even strangers. That's why anger, irritation, and envy often reveals more about our inner wounds than about the people standing in front of us. Studies on emotional suppression also shows that we avoid feeling, and the feelings that we avoid don't vanish. It festers, shaping our behavior and relationships in very destructive ways. Practically, this means that your triggers is an invitation. The next time you feel the rush of anger, jealousy, or shame, pause and ask, why does this cut so deep? What memory, belief, or fear is it touching? What have I been unwilling to see in myself? This is exactly what I do. The trigger is not the problem, it's the portal. When you decode it, you take back your power instead of outsourcing it to someone else's behavior. And spiritually, it goes even further. We are often magnetized to people who mirror our unresolved pain. You might be drawn to a partner who ignores you because deep down, you're still seeking the attention you never got as a child. You may cling to friends who betray you because part of you is trying to fix the betrayal you experienced early in life. We unconsciously keep returning to the same loop, hoping that this time the story will rewrite itself. But the truth is, it won't. Not until you stop trying to heal through another person and start facing the wound within yourself. And here's the boldest truth. Every trigger is an initiation. It's a mirror held up to your soul saying, this is the part you've abandoned. Are you ready to reclaim it? That's why your greatest irritation, your deepest heartbreaks, your sharpest resentments are not blocking your path. They are the path. Now, let's talk about the role of boundaries and self-love. Without clear boundaries, we unconsciously attract energy that mirrors our tolerance for neglect, disrespect, or manipulation. People don't always treat us according to our worth. They treat us according to what we tolerate. The relationships we allow are often a direct reflection of how much or how little we are willing to honor ourselves. If you grew up in an environment where chaos, criticism, or abandonment were normalized, your nervous system learned to accept them as love. So when a partner dismisses your needs or friend takes advantage of you, part of you may unconsciously say, this feels familiar. This must be love. And that's how the cycle repeats. Not because you are unworthy, but because your body is wired to confuse dysfunction with connection. Psychology reinforces this. Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend, in their groundbreaking book, Boundaries, show that weak or non-existent boundaries make us vulnerable to toxic dynamics. When we fail to define our limits, we leave others to write our rules for us. Research on codependency also reveals that without boundaries, people often overgive, overplease, and oversacrifice in relationships, while silently resenting the very people they are trying to keep. Boundaries then are not barriers, they are essential frameworks for self respect and healthy relating. So, how do we start? Practical tools are non negotiable. Notice red flags early. Stop excusing them. Stop rationalizing. If someone shows you who they are, for God's sake, believe them the first time. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're dating someone who constantly forgets to text you back for days, and even though you've clearly expressed that communication is very important to you, the first time you excuse it. Oh, they must be busy with work. The second time you rationalize, maybe they're not good with phone. But the truth is that their actions are telling you something. Your needs are not a priority for them. If you believe their behavior the first time, instead of explaining it away, you save your time. You would have saved your time, months or even years of chasing clarity that was already given to you in silence. Next, define your non-negotiables. What behavior will you never accept in love, friendships, or work? Write them down and commit to them. Say no without guilt. No is not a rejection, it's a sacred self preservation. Every time you enforce a boundary, you strengthen your inner compass and retrain others how to engage with you. Spiritually, boundaries are acts of devotion to the self. Loving yourself isn't selfish, it is sacred. Boundaries are how you signal to the universe, this is what I will allow. This is the level of love I am worthy of receiving. When you stop abandoning yourself, you naturally stop attracting people who abandon you. When you stop tolerating disrespect, you naturally repel those who thrive on exploiting insecurity. Boundaries are not walls, they keep people out. They are filters that allow truth, respect, and love to flow in while keeping harm out. And the bold truth is this: the love you have for yourself sets the vibration for every relationship you draw in. When you honor yourself deeply, the world adjusts. This is a very interesting and important point. Most people want new result without changing old patterns, but healing requires both awareness and action. If you keep attracting the same kinds of partners, friends, or even bosses, the first step is radical self-honesty. Otherwise, you keep repeating the same story in just different costumes. Step 1. Recognize patterns. Journaling is one of the most effective tools here. Research shows that expressive writing helps uncover unconscious patterns and reduce stress. Write down with pen and paper on your recurring relationship dynamics. Do you always end up with someone emotionally unavailable? Do your friendship often involve betrayal or competition? Awareness is the first medicine. For example, if 3 of your last relationships ended with you begging for attention, that's not coincidence. That's a pattern screaming to be seen. Step 2. Process your wounds. Don't bypass your anger, grief, or fear. Neuroscientist Dr. Bessel van der Kolk in The Body Keeps a Score explains how unprocessed trauma keeps replaying in the body and nervous system. If your father was emotionally absent, you may find yourself constantly drawn to partners who withhold affection because your body is wired to equate neglect with love. The key is not to shame yourself for this pull, but to process the grief of what you didn't receive back then, so you don't keep chasing it now. And step 3, Redefine your standards consciously. What are your non-negotiables emotionally, spiritually, and practically? This isn't just a wish list, it's an energetic declaration. Research in boundary psychology, Dr. Cloud and Townsend, confirms that people who consciously define standards attract healthier and more respectful relationships. For example, instead of saying, I want someone who values me, right? I do not tolerate inconsistency. I do not rationalize away disrespect. I choose relationships rooted in safety, honesty, and reciprocity. See how clear that feels? That clarity is very important and is magnetic. And step 4, align with your polarity. If you're feminine at your core, practice receiving, surrender, and softness. That means instead of overgiving to prove your worth, you lean back and allow someone to show up for you. If you're masculine at your core, practice direction, structure, and presence, being the grounded energy others can trust. A woman in her feminine essence won't chase emotionally unavailable men. She will attract partners who are drawn to her openness. And a man in his true masculine essence won't settle for chaos. He will naturally seek harmony and respect. You don't break cycles by finding a better partner. You break them by becoming the healed version of yourself that no longer tolerates that old story. As long as you're trying to change the characters without rewriting the script, the play will always be the same. People love to say, just forgive and move on. But here is the truth. Premature forgiveness, ignoring patterns, or settling for crumbs doesn't free you. It keeps you locked in the same cycle. Forgiveness without process is not liberation, it's repression. When you skip the anger, the grief, the heartbreak, you don't heal, you bury. And what happens to buried wounds? They don't dissolve, they rot. They resurface in your relationships, your body, your self-worth. Think about it. You forgive a partner for ghosting you, disrespecting your boundaries, or betraying your trust without holding them accountable. A few weeks later, the same behavior repeats. Why? Because your forgiveness became a hall pass for the cycle to continue. Or you forgive a friend for gossiping behind your back in the name of peace, but inside you carry resentment and exhaustion. That isn't forgiveness. That's self-abandonment dressed up as spiritual maturity. Psychology is clear on this. Dr. Janice Abrams in How Can I Forgive You says that real forgiveness requires accountability and repair. Without it, forgiveness is simply a way of silencing yourself. And trauma research confirms it. Again, with Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, we talked about this many times in his famous book, Body Keeps the Scores, show how unprocessed hurt lingers in the nervous system, shaping how you trust, love, and attach. Suppressed pain doesn't vanish, it drives your choices in the shadows. And here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. Society, religion, and spiritual culture profits from keeping you unhealed. Quick fix forgiveness, love and light slogans, and good vibes only movement aren't designed to liberate you. They are designed to pacify you. An unhealed person is easier to control, easier to sell to, easier to mold. If you fully processed your pain, integrated your shadow, and reclaimed your power, you wouldn't need their next retreat, mantra, or self-help bestsellers. Real healing threatens the business of endless self-improvement. Spirituality, the greatest teacher, never preached bypass. For example, in Christianity, forgiveness comes after repentance and accountability. In Buddhism, compassion grows only after deep awareness of suffering, not denial of it. In Kabbalah, tikkun, which means repair, demands that brokenness be acknowledged and transformed, not glossed over. True forgiveness is not letting it go because you are supposed to do it. It's the alchemy of turning pain into wisdom. Anything else is just spiritual band-aid slapped over a soul fractures. Forgiveness without healing isn't freedom, it's self-betrayal. Stop rushing the process. Feel it, face it, and then forgive when it's real. So, my friends, the next time you track someone who stirs up old wounds, pause first, and think about it. Why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to show me? What pattern am I unconsciously replaying? Because every trigger, every heartbreak, every disappointment is an invitation to wake up, not a punishment. Real freedom in love doesn't come from avoiding pain or waiting for the perfect partner to rescue you. It comes from awareness. It comes from setting boundaries that protects your worth. It comes from unconscious self-love, the kind that says, I will no longer abandon myself to be loved by someone else. So, if this episode stirs something in you, please do share it with someone who might need this as a reminder. Your shares, your comments, your reviews means the world to me because they help me get this message across to the hearts that are ready for it. So thank you truly for walking this journey with me and staying until the end of this episode. Until next time, honor your shadows, honor your patterns, and never settle for less than the love you deserve. And above all, always go beyond the mind.